We are live. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Ghost and Friends. We have three special Longhorns here with us tonight. We're going to start first with Miss Peyton Yeager. Welcome to the show. Bottom right, we have Mr. Keenan Womack, and then coming in last, but definitely not least, is our Big Daddy Papa Kyle. Thank you all for joining. First time on the channel for all of you. We're going to start with Peyton. Peyton, give us a little backstory real quick on how you became a Texas fan. What started your Longhorn fandom? And I think most of us know what you do, but if you want to talk about that for a moment, that'd be cool as well.
Yeah, I'll explain why I'm in the car. So I live in Dallas. I work for the local news station, Fox 4 News here in DFW, and I'm going on TV here in about an hour. So y'all have got me for the next 45 minutes to chat, and then I got to go do the news. I'm a Longhorn grad. I graduated in 2017. My parents actually are, which we can get into. My parents are actually from Michigan, which we can get into, but they moved down to Houston in '84. And my dad was always trying to get me to go to Michigan, but just growing up in Houston, I was like, you know what? I'd rather go to Texas. So I went to Texas, got a broadcast journalism degree, and made my way back to Texas, and now I'm in Dallas.
Okay, well, it sounds like you've mostly been a Longhorn for a while now.
Yeah.
Awesome job. We definitely have all seen you on Fox. Keep killing it. We'll go to Keenan. Keenan, what started out your fandom as a Longhorn? How'd you get to where you are? I know you've done some writing. Tell us a little bit about your story, brother.
Oh yeah, my parents met at Abel's, brother. Like I was born into this. There was no doubt about that.
You're the bane of Texas football.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So, I mean, I was born into it. My whole family basically went to UT. I went to UT. I graduated a few years ago, and I graduated with not a broadcast journalism degree, but a degree nonetheless. Got out of there alive. And I've worked for all kinds of different outlets. Right now I'm writing for SI for a few different outlets for them. So yeah, man. And then I do Texas Sports Unfiltered every day with Eric Henry of 24/7. So
I see that, man. Y'all do good work over there. Big fan of TSR.
Thank you, brother.
TSR. Yeah. Papa Kyle, man. We talked for almost daily for months now. I still don't know how this got kickstarted. How'd you become a Longhorn?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm probably the world's biggest T-shirt fan. I didn't actually go to Texas, but man, I grew up in Austin, and parents had season tickets as a kid. I mean, I remember growing up, like, sitting on their laps, going to football games and, tailgating beforehand. I mean, so even though I didn't go there, it's been just in my blood. We don't have a professional sports team here in Austin, so it was just like UT is what you root for. And, as a kid, my, dream was to play baseball at Texas.
Of course.
Unfortunately, that didn't pan out. But man, I've been bleeding burnt orange, pretty much my whole life.
Well, I know we see a little bit of you out at the Dish. I've seen we got kind of Dish famous at this point, man. Yeah, I get it, man. We all grew up kind of wanted to be Longhorns, different jerseys. I wanted basketball at one point, football at one point. I definitely get that. I mean, you're not a T-shirt fan. You're born in the middle of Austin. You grew up rooting for the Horns. You're, like you said, sitting on laps with your parents, rooting for the guys in burnt orange. Like that's cool stuff, man. Don't consider yourself a T-shirt fan whatsoever. You're that guy. Cool stories from all of you, man. I've followed and interacted with each of you for a while. Grateful for the interactions. Appreciate all of it. We're going to move off of Texas just for a moment. Big national topic, one that kind of has resurfaced a little bit as of the last couple of days. We're going to go talk about Michigan. Peyton, we'll let you go first because it sounds like you have more Michigan ties than the other three gentlemen here. So tell us a little about your thoughts on the Michigan ordeal. If you want to get the backstory, as you mentioned, with your parents, we'd love to hear that as well. I also like Michigan a lot. I'm going to have some comments, but I overall love Michigan's football program. But let's hear from you and what you have to think on everything with blue.
And same. I grew up cheering for them also, but also being in Houston. Well, my dad's an Astros fan and a Wolverines fan, so take what you will. So just with everything going on in the news, it's rough for him out there. Yeah. And then we're going to the game in, I guess, a few weeks now. So I don't know. I just feel like it's so unpredictable. They went to the game last year, so none of this really scandal thing fazed them when they won the championship. But I'm just like, is that wearing off now that we're entering football season? So that's kind of, I can feel that from my dad, especially with everything swirling in the news now.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely kind of died down for a while, post-national championship, the offseason, a lot of other things to talk about. And now, I mean, I've thought for a while that, they got away with a lot, and it looks that might be the case. But then again, everyone has different opinions as far as how much it really mattered. Keenan, go ahead, man. I hope you have a lot to say about this.
Yeah. Oh man, Connor Stallions, dude. What a blatant, bold man that is. Just going on the sidelines, rocking Central Michigan gear. Look, man, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? Isn't that kind of what we've learned over the last 20, 25 years with Deflategate, with the Astros, all kinds of stuff. So I think Michigan wins that national title regardless if they're stealing signs or not. I think that they just had the physicality, point of attack, just everything, the running game, the quarterback. They had everything they needed to win a national title. Just like the Astros kind of proved, like, yeah, we were stealing signs, but, like, we're still really good, So, like, they kept winning. They've been to 8 straight ALCS. As sick as that makes me to admit, I will admit to it. They're actually playing right now, my Rangers. So, I think with Connor Stallions – wait, sorry, what?
I said world champion Texas Rangers are playing right now.
That's right, brother. You're gosh darn right, my friend.
There you go. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, it's really it's not surprising, I think, is the main takeaway, right? Like, this is going on, maybe not to that degree where they have the master of disguise running around the sidelines, but it's a funny story, if nothing else, that they were doing it to scout Michigan State, who has not been super great lately anyway. So I don't know. I'm kind of whatever with it. The NCAA is so limp at this point; they're not going to do anything about it. So,
that's a great point. Kyle, anything to say on Michigan RE cheating scandal?
Yeah, I mean, so ironically enough, my dad is also not only just a Longhorn fan, but he's a Wolverines fan as well. He grew up in a military family, so they moved around a lot, and they spent a decent amount of time in the Michigan area. So, he was pretty happy to see the Big Blue, win the national championship this year.
Of course.
But, to Keenan's point, I personally think at this point right now, it's something for news outlets to grasp onto and just bring back up after, like we've said here, it hasn't really been talked about in, a number of months. So just seemed a little uncanny to me that now we're bringing it back up right as football season's about to start. Like, this information's been here this whole entire time. Why are we just now bringing it up? And I think we can all agree, Keenan said it perfectly. The NCAA is limp. Like, they've not handed out a death.
Losing there, brother.
You still there?
Okay. Here, I don't know. Where'd you guys lose me?
You're good, bro.
Oh, you're good. Yeah. You were talking about limp, and we kind of lost you for a moment.
No, I was going on to say, like, the NCAA hasn't handed down a death penalty since SMU. So, I mean,
right.
We saw what that did to their program. That's never going to happen in Michigan.
No. Yeah. I think a lot of us made jokes about it. I did as well. But as soon as, the allegations came out, or the confirmed allegations, I guess, I'm not sure how you phrase that, but several people, referenced Oklahoma State's about to get it. They're about to get punished for this. And I don't think anything would ever come from that. To make your point, Keenan, everyone is doing some form of cheating one way or another. Some are doing it in recruiting. Well, a lot of them are doing it in recruiting. Some are using, infiltration of iClouds. I mean, the 2017 Astros weren't the only team that cheated with technology. Like, let's call it how it is. I don't like those guys. I'm rooting for a 162 season every year, but there were other teams that went that same way. We got to call it how it is. But at the same time, on the football field, man, if you know exactly what the op is going to run, if and 3rd and 2, 4th and 1 instances that play action could be coming, or this a wide zone, things like that, it definitely gets a lot easier for you. But to make Keenan's point as well, Michigan didn't play anyone last year until, what did he play? Penn State, who had an offense that I think the four of us could hold to 2 or 3 scores. If we just had us 4 out there. No offense, Penn State. I root for my grandfather played at Penn State. I like Penn State a little bit. I like Michigan a little bit. I got a little Big Ten in the blood. But man, I'm tired of watching offense like that. And so Yeah, they didn't need to do what they were doing. They didn't need to scout Michigan State from the opposing sideline, and they didn't need to have people planted at midfield to watch Penn State, in my opinion. Now, Ohio State, I sit on Michigan's side of that rivalry, so whatever they wanted to do to beat the Buckeyes, I'm all for it. I hope Peyton's dad, Kyle's dad, happy campers. I was cool with that beating. But so after that, all right, let's go. Texas SEC first year. What are your honest expectations? Are you thinking as high as a conference championship? Do you just want to make the playoffs? This is for whoever wants to go first. But I would love to hear from all three of you, please.
Man, I'm conference championship or bust, dog. Like, I feel like we've got we've got the tools, we've got the pieces to the puzzles. We've got Sark, who I fully believe in. He took us to the playoffs last year. We were one play away from making it to the national title game. Which, another bold statement here. I think if we make it to the national title, we're beating Michigan in the national title game if we make it. That's my bold statement. I'll die on that hill. Haters, feel free to come at me. That's cool. But yeah, no. I mean, I don't think it's unfair to expect that we can make the SEC championship game year one.
Okay, Keenan, Peyton, what are we thinking?
You go first, Peyton. I'm trying to confirm something that may have just happened about Texas football, actually. So you go first. Give me 1 second.
Breaking news live.
Wow, on the front lines right now. Thank you. So honestly, this is wild, and I'm so glad you asked me to be on this because I went to NOLA, and it has taken me maybe 8 months to come out of it. So this is my first time actually saying the words Texas football in like 8 months because I needed that long to recover.
It hurt.
So it's like that deadly triangle where I'm just like, am I drinking the juice again? But I actually have really high hopes for us. I mean, I say this every year, but I went to college during Charlie Strong. So I prepare the worst and just hope for the best. But I mean, I really, really want to beat Michigan. I really want to be OU. I know we're going to get on this, and I really want to be A&M. If we can just hit the trifecta, I would be a happy Longhorn. I think that will get us to the conference championship, obviously, like what Kyle said. But if we do those, I'm happy.
You go 3-0 in those games. I'm pretty happy. Keenan, do you have anything to tell us?
Cedric Baxter hurt his knee today. I don't know if that has been reported to public already, but I didn't know what the severity was.
I saw someone in the comments actually asking for Baxter updates.
He is going to be getting an MRI
on his knee. Yeah.
So
that doesn't help. I went to SEC Media Days a couple weeks ago, and I did my poll, and everybody's gonna hate me. I had Texas finishing third. I had Georgia winning it over Ole Miss. And I know that's crazy, but Ole Miss is super loaded this year. I think Texas probably drops one to Georgia, but, you never know. I mean, this team is super talented at every spot. Like, they got dudes everywhere. They have an incredibly experienced offensive line. You have guys like, they're playing Anthony Hill at middle linebacker now, and I know he was used mostly in situational pass rush last season, but he can still blitz the A-gap. You have, your outside linebackers are guys who are experienced in Blackwell and Benda. They're guys who have earned Sark's trust, PK's trust. The receiver room is just insanely loaded with all the 3 transfers, as well as, guys like Jonte Cook, guys like Ryan Wingo, who's a freshman who's going to come in. He's going to demand minutes. He's going to demand reps. He's going to get them because he's that good. You have Ewers. I mean, I think your most important unit is your offensive line on this team, and Kelvin Banks is going to be a top 5 pick. Like, he's that level of player. And then on the edges, I think the edges are better. Like, yes, you're losing some talent on the interior defensive line, losing an Outland Trophy winner and a first-round pick. Like, obviously, you're going to take a step back regardless. But I like what I've heard about AC, Alfred Collins. I like what I've heard about Vernon Broughton. I like the rotational guys. And apparently Trey Moore is tearing it up. Barron Sorrell looks like he's going to hold down the other side. So Ethan Burke looks like a guy. I mean, Colin Simmons is going to push for reps. Like, they have talent everywhere. It's just a matter of putting it together, and they got to get lucky. Every good team gets lucky, and they have to be lucky. They have to, in the Georgia game, not to talk too much, but the Georgia game is interesting because, everybody said last year Texas has no chance against Alabama. They have no shot. They're going to go in there. They're going to get blown out. They're going to lose by 17 or 21.
Yep.
and they pulled it off. And Alabama last year was as talented as, maybe not as talented as Georgia this year, but like a very talented team. And Texas has a lot of talent too. So it could go one of two ways. I see it going pretty positively, and I see them being maybe a 6 overall seed in the playoff, which means, host playoff games. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you a lot on several points there. When you look on the defense, man, my heart warmed a little bit. You rattled off 4 different edges that could, legit be on the field and can contribute. And it's just been so long since we've had those type of players. And now we still need to go see them go do it on the field. Obviously, Trey Moore is proven, and we know Colin's going to be a monster because, just look at the man. But Ethan Burke, it's so hard not to just love Ethan Burke and his game. The dude fights for everything. He's a lacrosse guy. You know how they get down. So huge fan of the defense. We didn't even talk you didn't even mention anything about the secondary.
Yeah.
Well, if I could
go ahead, sir.
I don't think we talk enough about Alfred Collins either. The improvements that he's made since his freshman year on campus. My parents actually lived right behind his aunt and uncle, so I've had good conversations with him ever since he was being recruited out of I think it was Bastrop. Man, I'm excited to see him on the field this year. I think he brings a lot to the team, and he'll be a key asset on the D-line.
Well, that's just like you guys are saying, everyone's knocking the defensive line room, and it's not necessarily as big of a knock. It is a testament to what Murph and Sweat did. The guys were so good, and people are saying you can't replace that, and like Keenan's saying you can't replace that. Instantly, these guys are going to have to go out. They're going to have to figure out the rotations at work, and they're going to have to prove themselves. We're going to see who gets the bulk of the snaps. And but also, like Keenan said, that defense could be better than it was last year, just from a base of all its sums. The edge of play will be better. Linebacker play should be better. There's been a lot of tinkering in the secondary, obviously some new additions, but the secondary, man, like the wide receiver room, if they put it together, the talent is there for a really special year out of that room. And so I'm kind of with you guys. I think there's potential to make a conference championship game. Ole Miss wouldn't surprise me at all. I think they have a great schedule and an offense that's loaded, and then they've added the necessary portal entries on the defensive portal additions on the defensive side. So I like the Ole Miss pick. I think it's essentially wide open between 3 or 4 teams, and there's always a dark horse team in a conference or in every conference. When Texas made the move to the SEC, obviously we were really down. Peyton, you mentioned you kind of, just root for the best. You went through the Charlie Strong experience while you're, live in the flesh while you're in college. Keenan too. A lot of Texas fans, they feel really good about the SEC. So I am a little surprised just to hear you say, be real about it, I guess, and say, hey, we're just going to root for the best. I'm kind of that way. A lot of people think 9-3 is like a doomsday scenario. There are a lot of different avenues that could lead to a 9-3 season, but with us still having a really good football team. So I agree with you all there. But, okay, now we're going to move on. We're going to go – check this one. All right, so Peyton mentioned this. We're going to talk bigger rivals. We're looking about Oklahoma and A&M. I've said on the last couple of episodes, this year feels like the A&M is a lot bigger. I definitely feel like OU is the bigger rival. This year, who do you want to beat more and why? Go ahead, whoever wants to go first.
Call on me.
That's Keenan.
I am just sick of losing to Oklahoma, man. I realize that it's the first game back against A&M, and A&M's really good, and you're playing on the road, and blah, blah, blah. OU is not built to, win a bunch of games this year. They're not. They should not have punted on Dylan Gabriel. I think that was a big mistake. Jackson Arnold might end up being a great player, but this is a microwaved offensive line. This is a new offensive line full of guys that have not played together. Their defense is going to be great. OU's defense looks really good, right? They have Stutzman at linebacker. They have Gentry Williams at corner, Billy Bowman at safety. So the middle of that defense is super strong, especially bringing in David Stone too as well.
Sure.
They got solid dudes up the middle of that defense. No excuses, man. You have to beat Oklahoma this year. If you're not going to do it this year, when are you going to do it? I know you get the 49-0, but yeah, go ahead, Peyton.
No. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm just sick and tired of us coming off we went to the Sugar Bowl, but then I don't know, just having that.
Can't let him get away with that.
that loss is just like disgusting. I'm sorry, it's disgusting. I live in Dallas. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
So I vote OU also.
It's a humble walking out of the fairgrounds after bringing up Travis in the comment, making his point. In my lifetime and our lifetimes, they have dominated us a little bit. We had a little bit of a run from 05 to 09, and I just remember being so happy. And it was like, yes, the Stoops dominance over Mac is over. And then we get really bad. And even though they weren't, incredible there for a few years, they're still beating us. Kyle, OU, A&M, which one matters more?
Man, I feel like this is asking you to like say who's your favorite child. Like, like I was at the 49-0 game, and I remember walking out of the stadium with my buddy Steven and Gotti. Shouts to Fanatic Perspective.
Love that guy. Love that
Great
guy.
man.
I was like, felt like I was 10 feet tall walking out of that stadium that day, knowing that we just like shut them out. But that being said, man, it's been since 2011 since we played A&M, back when, Case McCoy was our quarterback and we had Jay Tuck at kicker. I don't know, man. I got to say, if we don't beat A&M in College Station this season, like, I'm not ready to hear the amount of smack talk coming out of A&M fans.
Yeah, that's why I'm with you. I'm considering this from a standpoint of which one would it hurt to lose more. And I unfortunately am very familiar. Travis is going to love this comment. Very familiar what it feels like to lose the second Saturday in Dallas and walk out of there. Grew up watching Texas whip A&M around from 2000 to 2011. They beat us in 06, 07, and 2010. And all those are close ball games. We whipped them around a little bit. I don't know what it feels like to lose to the Aggies. I haven't felt that feeling in a very long time. I will be there. I don't know about you guys, Kyle. I know you're tailgating and trying to go. But walking out of that game, I'm picturing myself walking out as a loser, and it's a really hard picture to paint in my mind. I'm struggling with that, so that's why I'm on the 1 year.
I would be absolutely distraught if I go into that game and we don't come out with a W. Like, distraught.
Yeah, but I can hear the Sooners now, like, new conference, same outcome. Like, I can already hear it, so that's why I feel like we need to just zip that up, and then. Yeah. And then,
oh yeah,
I don't know. That's how I can already see them saying that all over Twitter. Like, it doesn't matter. I can hear it now, and I would rather not have that than the Aggies. And I know that's difficult, but yeah.
Man, I was at the 2021 game, the Caleb Williams game. Like, that was I was there for that whole game, and my wife and I, we left. Well, girlfriend at the time, now wife. We left. I made her leave after OU came back and scored the touchdown. I was like, there's just no way and I knew it was going to happen, and it did. And I have never been more distraught over a loss in my life, because I've never been to a game that was that painful ever. That was crazy. And the funniest thing, I went on, I don't know if you know Cousin Shane and Big SEC Mike. I went on their podcast a couple weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, whenever SEC Media Days was. And they asked me for a story about that rivalry, and I gave them one where Texas lost, and this OU fan walked up to my wife and threw the horns in. I was like, man, we're gonna have to fight, dude. I'm gonna have to fight this guy at the fair. That's not what you want to do at the fair, dude. You don't want to be fighting people. You want to be eating corn dogs, having a good time.
Yeah, man.
Terrible time.
I think it's the worst. Sorry, we're talking about this for way too long. Like,
we have great reason to. You're good.
I think, I don't know. Again, well, Keenan's younger than me, but anyway, so I have not experienced the A&M loss. I remember sitting on my couch and my parents being sad, but like walking out of the Cotton Bowl and being like drunk, and then you have to have like the rest of the day, and I think that's worse. Bad. My story is this year I like sat on the OU side due to like a former significant other that's no longer. And it was like surrounded by OU, and we're sitting like, everyone knows how it ended this past year where they got the touchdown at the last moment. I'm in the left-hand corner. Anyway, so like I'm in full burnt orange. Everyone around me is in crimson. And then like this girl in front of me said that my shirt was ugly. So then I like called her ugly. And then her dad, when they won, like threw cotton candy in my face. And then I went, so it's like, so I have this photo on my phone of me with makeup and like cotton candy all over my face, and I
Oh,
deserved it.
no.
Honestly, I deserved it in that moment. I
Can
was
you
like,
please send that to me? I kind of need to see that. It'll help me cope with the,
No.
the pain that we've all endured a little bit.
oh, so I'm just like, I can't go through that again. Also, never sitting on that side ever again. But
No,
yeah,
hell no.
I've got a great story about that same situation. So when I was young, and in school, we used to try, in high school, we should find a way to go to as many games as we could. And my brother and I wanted to go to the 09 game. And so the cheapest tickets were on the Oklahoma side because they were struggling a little bit that year. I think they lost to like UCLA and was that BYU with Bradford was hurt.
Yep.
So they dropped to like $1.30 to sit on the OU side. So we get tickets on the OU side, and college game days there. And there's some guys holding up signs that are saying, we'll trade Texas tickets for OU tickets. And long story short, we trade tickets 3 times, and we had upper deck seats on the OU side, and we ended up in right behind the goalpost, 11 rows up in the Texas end zone, right behind the band. And then, we beat them 16-13. It was a great day. It was fun. We traded tickets a lot up there. But
here is me with the cotton.
oh my God.
I have blonde hair, but I'm
The
brunette
worst
now.
part about that is that our team didn't even win. So when
That's
so
tough,
rough.
man. That's
Well,
tough, dude.
You don't have to go through that again.
I hope those people are watching. I'm like,
Let's not forget about the fact that now that we're back in the SEC, we're also rekindling a rival with Arkansas, which I also call it irrational, have a hate for Arkansas fans as well.
No, I'm with you, man. My dad, growing up, my dad taught me that our 2 biggest rivals were Arkansas and A&M. I actually got flamed when I was a high school football coach. I had an account with my personal stuff, and I made that comment on there, and like the Aggie guy Cuppy Cup, and then one of the big Baylor writers got a hold of it, and they made fun of me for days. I mean, people were just ripping me because I said that Arkansas was a bigger rivalry to me than A&M. Now, I wouldn't say that again now because that was a long time ago, but he had a license plate from all 50 states up there. And at the very bottom, he had the Oklahoma and the Arkansas one turned upside down and like way below every other one. Like he hated Arkansas, man. And so I'm with you. It's a great rivalry, and I think college football is they'll be lucky to have it again.
Yeah, that was my first market. My broadcast career was Fayetteville, Arkansas for 2 years, Oklahoma City for 3 years, now Dallas. So like I've lived through the trenches, and I think at SEC Media Days they asked them like, "Do you hate Texas more than you like yourselves?" And they were like, "Yeah."
I mean,
that's interesting.
Weird thing to admit to. It's a strange thing to admit to.
A head coach, man. I mean, he's saying it to everyone,
I mean, I as well have lived behind enemy lines and enemy SEC territory. I spent 2 years in New Orleans and was around a lot of LSU Tigers fans. I gotta say though, just from a holistic view of like different fan bases in the SEC, LSU's pretty accommodating. Those guys just like to party.
I love them.
Fun.
They're my favorite.
I love LSU. The most fun I've ever had is I'm dating myself, dude. I was like a freshman in college, and I had to drive these older guys to New Orleans. I had to drive them to Baton Rouge for the Alabama LSU game. We went to that. Then we went to New Orleans. Then we came home, and I made it to class on Monday. I'm just kidding. I didn't make it to class. But I could have made it to class. Could have.
There in time.
What were you going to ask me, Ghost?
Arkansas, maybe.
Arkansas.
Yeah. I mean, have you been to Fayetteville any? Have you checked out any Texas Arkansas action?
I mean, given my like proclivity for writing about hoops, like I've been focusing a lot on Arkansas lately with the whole Calipari thing. But as far as football goes, they are in dire straits, man. Like they are not good right now. I think they missed on every single in-state kid this year except for one. Like of the top in-state kids, like they're not recruiting in-state that well. They are going to probably win 4 games this year. Like realistically, like they're not very good. I do like their defensive coordinator. I think he's doing a good job recruiting as far as near Arkansas, but like not necessarily in state. But yeah, I think Arkansas is going to have to get much better for this to become a real rivalry again. I think LSU is going to become a bigger rivalry than Arkansas.
I would personally love that. Yeah, personally,
I would too. I mean, I had so much fun at that Texas LSU game. That was a blast.
Don't they play OU? I think they play OU on like Halloween or something this year.
LSU?
Hell yeah.
OU. Yeah.
That's gonna go crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Where's that game at? Norman or Baton Rouge?
No, it's in Baton Rouge. OU has an
Yeah.
extremely difficult
They do.
schedule.
Yeah, I know. I mean, a lot of the opponents, I had no idea. I know they go to Auburn and Bama goes there. Obviously, now you're saying LSU. Where's the Tennessee game? Is that in Norman?
They go to Ole Miss.
That's in Norman.
They go to Baton Rouge.
Yeah,
I mean,
they get Tennessee at home, but yeah.
I asked Travis the other day if Jackson Arnold and that O-line go out and struggle, in the first month of the season, and they've got 2 losses coming into the Cotton Bowl. I mean, like, it could go south really fast. Like you're saying, that offensive line is going to have to step up in a big way, and it might not even be all on them. They're going to be playing really good competition to start the season, and obviously throughout the season. And so there's times where Arnold's play and the O-line's play might not be as bad as it seems. But yeah, they've definitely got a nice little initiation.
Yeah.
While all goes, I mean, I went to was it 2002 or 2003 Texas Arkansas game. Chance Mock, Vince came in a little bit. Matt Jones ran all over us, ran the option all over us. Cedric Cobb was the tailback, I believe. And then Houston Nutt gets down over there at midfield after the game. Or no, that was the Cotton Bowl in 2000, and he threw the horns down, like the double horns down. I think they beat us like 27-0. And like back then, the horns down actually, like it bothered me a little bit. And so I do think it'll be a good rivalry. But to make your point, Keenan, this is not 2021 when we went to Fayetteville in week 2 and got pounded.
God, what a disaster that was.
When they dropped the schedule, and a lot of people really, really thought that, the Texas has at Arkansas, at A&M in the same month. And I'm like, well, I'm much more worried about Florida and Kentucky and A&M than I am Arkansas. They would need a lot to go their way on the field for them to hang around in that game, much less win that game.
I'd be much more worried. I'm not worried about Florida because Florida's going to have 5 or 6 losses by the time they get to Austin, and Billy Napier is going to be gone. That team's going to be lost. Kentucky, that scares me.
They're sneaky,
Kentucky They are super scrappy. They run the ball really well. They're really well coached. They're disciplined on defense. They have maybe the best defensive lineman in the conference in Deion Walker. So
NFL talent.
That's a scary team.
Yeah.
Is Stoops' brother still HC over there?
Yeah.
He tried to
forever.
He tried to bounce, but he's back. It's got to be a little bit of an awkward, moment when you come back. You take the A&M job and you come back and you're like, I'm here, guys, and I'm here forever. And you got to have a hell of a speech ready to go. You know what I mean? Like you just can't come in there and be like, you guys ready to practice? We got team dinner in 30. You can't. I don't think you just walk in and say anything like that. You're gonna have a real heart-to-heart with them. But
oh man!
All right, Peyton. I'm curious. Give me your favorite in-person Texas football memory that you've ever experienced. It could be inside the stadium, could be outside tailgating with friends. Maybe it's Bourbon Street after a big dub against Georgia Sugar Bowl. What do you have for me?
I'm gonna go. That was awesome. I know that's so many people's answers though. When Sam Ellinger,
It was fun. It was a great night. I'm
gonna go on a limb, and this is me because it meant so much at the time. I think it was double overtime against Notre Dame. Charlie Strong.
Yep.
Tyrone Swoops, like parallel with the ground. I was a junior or senior at that time, maybe. Like, that was awesome. So maybe that for me.
I've got, before we get to both of you other gentlemen's answers on this, I've got a little bit of a story about that game. Go ahead and apologize to my dad and my brothers watching because they already went through this nightmare once. But my dad is from SoCal. His best friend is from Fort Bend, Indiana. And they met in Houston, Texas, both became Texas fans, but still both love Notre Dame and USC respectively. And so when Notre Dame's coming to Austin, it's a big deal for my dad and his buddy. And I tell them and my brothers and a couple of buddies, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get us all tickets. I found a great deal for 8 of them, yada, yada, yada. Long story short, we get to the game. And this is we planned it 6 months out. We get to the game, we got scammed, fake tickets. We had been there all day. We're all hammered, tailgate. Yeah. whole scene. So they're running around trying to find other tickets, have no idea if anything is real. I think they said there was like something like 20,000 fake tickets, like were trying to get through the gates at DKR. And then like a couple weeks later, they hit the A&M and Tennessee game like real hard too, the same group of scammers allegedly. But yeah, so I love that game, but there's a little bit of bitterness in my mind. You know,
I know, and then I'm done after. I'm gonna have to get off in a second, but I'll let them go. But I mean, the conference championship this year, I know we like smacked the heck out of Oklahoma State, and they were like a little fly, but it felt nice.
A very nice farewell.
It was a great middle finger to Brett Yormark.
Yeah, that was kind of nice.
Knowing he's there watching, knowing he has to get up on front of all the Texas faithful and present us the trophy. That moment was really cool. I mean, like, not to like pile on the guy, but like he felt it, you know, he was like, all right.
I was also sitting front row at the 55-0 versus Texas Tech when he was in attendance. Well, and that felt pretty good too.
Yeah. That was all around a 10 out of 10 DKR experience between the light show, the game on the field, you know, that being the last Tech game for a while. But all right, you two, forever. Peyton, do you have a moment, or do you need to go?
Oh no, I'm gonna let them. I want to hear their favorite.
Okay,
I guess.
Y'all go ahead. If y'all have your favorite,
So for me, this is gonna be a little nostalgic. November 27th, 1998. Run Ricky Run breaks Tony Dorsett's all-time rushing record against A&M. Last season of the game. That was back when my parents still had season tickets. I mean, I was maybe like 9-10 years old.
You're in the house for that one?
Being able to witness that in person, you know, I mean, Ricky Williams was Ricky Williams. Like, he was a god to everyone at that time. And it was amazing, like, actually being there in person to see him break a record like that. I know it's since been broken, you know, afterwards, but witnessing, like, history like that in person, I don't know. It's always sat really cool with me.
Absolutely.
It's a good one. Mine is I've had like some terrible luck with like being at Texas games. Like, I mean, like horrendous, like TCU 2015, like that kind of, like I was at those kind of games.
Yeah.
But I was at 49-0, and that kind of was so cathartic for me that I just, as soon as they won that game, I was like walking around the stadium. I remember my buddy Garrett was walking around, and OU had debuted those O shirts. And my buddy Garrett was walking up to OU fans going, how'd you know how many points you were going to score? Oh my God, that's amazing. I was like, we're going to get in a fight, dude. Like, we're going to get in a fight, 100%. Yeah. That was my favorite, probably.
That's pretty epic. I mean, I'm with you there on that. That was a release of all the frustration that 2021 brought. You know, I was there for that one as well. And when it was 28-7 in the first quarter, I literally had my hands around my friends, like, it's nowhere close to over, and you need to chill. This is nowhere close. What are we doing? And I wasn't like blaming them when OU, stormed back.
Sure.
Part of me was blaming them. I'm like, if you would have just calmed down, but no, 2022, Oklahoma felt really cool. It was nice to see their half of the stadium piling out the exits, and then by the time we get in the fairgrounds, they're all thinned out and everything, and we could hang out a little bit.
It was a big party. It was a movie. I love that. I mean, that was going to be my number 2, was being at 49-0. I mean,
yeah,
let's call it what it is. Like, that was an absolute ass pasting for the decades, and it felt amazing.
I'm gonna get back in a time machine for my favorite, but 2011 A&M was really cool. Very toxic environment, I will say that. I've been treated very well by Aggies since then, so I'm not gonna rail on them for it. But that was a tough environment. But 2008 Texas Oklahoma 45-35, Sam Bradford, Colt McCoy, an epic football game. Number 1 Oklahoma versus number 5 Texas. Gosh, I could watch that game literally once a week and never grow tired of it. I probably do watch it at least once a year. I mean, pure football. Brent Musburger on the call. I love everything about that day. It was such a beautiful day. I got sunburnt to hell, didn't care at all. I was such a dork. I even had like the Texas eye black strips on like Colt McCoy, and then like I get sunburnt to hell, and I take them off.
You need pictures of that.
I promise I have them, and I just have a white strip for like 2 weeks, just white as heck right there. But, those
Hell
were the
yeah,
good days,
that
man.
was.
You know, it was life or death on every play. It was like first to get 4 or 5 yards and have a positive first down play.
That kick return, man.
Oh yeah,
That
I mean,
kick return.
oh, you jumped out 14-3. I was terrified. I don't know if you remember
Me
Jermaine
too.
Gresham, but watching OU play that year and knowing that I eventually wanted to coach, I mean, I knew what type of mismatch he was as a tight end. He was good run blocker, obviously great in the passing game. And when he got that TD on Texas for, I want to say it's 40, 50 yards, I was like, dang it, here we go again, 14-3 OU.
Yep.
It's going to be a long day. And then Lord Shipley says no and goes to the house, and that flipped everything.
Shouts out our guy
The
Jordan.
Yeah, I
Red
don't
River
know if y'all knew
shootout
this,
with
but
Dicker, like the Texas OU with
That was
Dicker.
good too.
I watch that when I'm sad, and then it makes me happier. Like, there's a clip on YouTube that like probably 500,000 views are probably me. And then I'm sorry, the memories are flooding back. I was in Oklahoma City for the pandemic, and I went to Texas at Oklahoma State during the pandemic, and we won in like double overtime.
Yeah.
That was
remember
pretty
that.
awesome because
That's
like
the
no
plus side.
Texas fans were there, so I felt like I was holding it down.
Did you like
Flexing.
T-Boone Pickens Stadium? I love going to Oklahoma State for football games. I think
That
it's
was
a
my
blast.
first time there. Last time there, we'll never probably go back there. But I had fun, and we went out after a little bit. But it was still kind of pandemic-y, so not.
Yeah,
really.
that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
can we also just revisit another really cool clip in Texas OU that I love to see? And it's Quan Cosby absolutely just laying out. I forget who the cornerback's name is, but it's in
Lindy
that
Holmes.
in that
Lindy
same
Holmes, yep.
08 game, absolutely decleating him. Every time I see that video pop up on my timeline, doesn't matter if I'm in a bad mood, I'm instantly in a better mood seeing.
Yeah, Lindy went to make a tackle and woke up down on West 7th in Fort Worth. He got nuked right there.
Yeah, that was a layout of the highest order, no doubt.
It was really
And I mean,
cool.
it helps. I don't know if you guys have met him as well. I've personally met Quan, an amazing guy. Just makes it even that better.
Quan and I, our high schools were in the same district and everything. I'm a little younger than Quan, but he came back and watched a basketball game 2 weeks after they beat USC for the Natty, and I got to walk up to him. I was a player, and I walked up in full uniform, and we're supposed to be warming up, and I was like, I just had to come over here, shake your hand, tell you that you're the man. Thank you for drawing the face mask penalty on the third down catch against USC on the last drive. It was a huge automatic first down.
Saved
We were
the
about to
season.
have
Saved
huge,
the
man.
season.
We were about to have a fourth and kind of medium there. But yeah, it's Quan, like you said, he was fun to watch. Him and his twin brother in high school, Quincy, they were bad dudes, legends over there at Mart, Texas. But Peyton, I don't want to hold you. I know you're getting close.
All right,
If
I'm
you
gonna
need
go.
to-
Hook 'em.
Okay. Thank you so much
Peace
for doing
out,
this.
Peyton.
Bye. Thanks for letting me hang.
Of course, anytime.
Peace out.
Bye.
All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and got one trivia question for you each. Okay, I'm going to ask every guest that comes on the channel, Texas guest at least, one trivia question pertaining to Texas football. Which one wants the question first?
I'll take
Lay it
it.
on me.
Alice, I heard you first. All right, 2009 Texas, Nebraska. Obviously, everyone remembers the 1 second on the clock. Who was the kicker that made the field goal there, buddy?
I forget his first name, but the last name is Lawrence, and his number is 15.
And that is correct, Hunter Lawrence, 15.
Well
Man,
done.
see, I feel like I made Travis's, Kyle, and Rob's questions too hard. I feel like I made yours too easy. And I
actually have a funny story about that game.
Okay.
I was in high school. I think it was a junior or senior. I was on a date. It was like my second or third date with this girl that I had just met, and she really wanted to go out that night. And I was like, wait a minute, like, we've got a very important game on our schedule tonight. If we go somewhere, like, we have to go somewhere that has a TV. So I think we go to Tokyo Steakhouse, getting hibachi, and I'm watching this game just on pins and needles, and then Hunter Lawrence hits that, nails the field goal, and I'm just like making myself look like an idiot. in the middle of Tokyo Steakhouse on my second date with this girl.
I mean, dude, we're in the Big 12 championship with a chance to get the
Like,
Pasadena.
I think if she could have put herself in the fetal position, or it's like one of those Southwest commercials, like the want to get away, like that's how I made her feel.
So no second date here?
No, that didn't. She was not too thrilled with my antics, and hey, you know what? That told me everything I needed to know.
I mean,
Texas football #1, baby.
Fair. Keenan, question for you, sir.
Someone said I wasn't at Pluckers. No, I was not at Pluckers.
Kyle has a bit of a love for Pluckers. I can say that half the times I ask him what he's doing, Pluckers is involved in his response.
Nothing wrong with Pluckers, man. Pretty good
Absolutely
spot.
not. I wish there was one closer to me. All right, Keenan, 2011, Texas A&M. Damn, Travis is throwing shade because I asked Travis this question. This was my question to Travis. I asked him in the Superman play in 2001, who did Roy Williams jump over on the play where he,
I wouldn't have known that.
Bro, like Kyle made a great point. There's so many pictures of it. You can see his name in the back of his jersey right there. I thought it was one. Travis, he's a god. I was a little disappointed, but he'll make up for it. All right, Keenan, 2011 Texas versus Texas A&M. Jackson Shipley throws a touchdown pass in this game. Who does he throw a touchdown pass to?
So Miles Onyeabule?
It's Blaine Irby.
Blaine Irby.
Blaine
Dang.
Irby.
I had that.
Poor guy, just couldn't stay healthy.
He must have caught. I think Onyeabule caught a trick pass at some point for a touchdown. Maybe that's
I feel like we did everything in the world in that game in order to win. We ran fake punts, we
crazy.
double passes. Tannehill threw 17 interceptions. We ran a punt back inside the 5. Obviously, the Case McCoy scramble. It wasn't graceful enough for me to call it a scramble.
Whatever
but I
it
love the
was.
guy. Big play, man. I'm grateful for it. Obviously, it feels good to be on the. Can't imagine 13 years on Twitter with those guys if we had lost that game. With the way it's gotten to now.
It's like Oklahoma State beating OU in their last game. Like,
Yeah.
yes, OU has completely dominated that series, but Oklahoma
Right.
State has all-time scoreboard now.
It doesn't matter.
The point. Eternal scoreboard, last one. That's the only one that mattered, Sooners. That's the
That was
only
brutal,
one.
dude.
We
Brutal.
run this state. But I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of partial to the A&M game because I also live right next door to 2 A&M grads, and don't get me wrong, they're amazing people. But we have the battle of the flags being hung out on our back patios, and
Happens.
we actually had a Bama fan live on the other side of them not too long ago. So I need neighborly bragging rights. Like I can't have him like looking over the back of his fence while we let our dogs out talking shit to me. You know what I'm saying?
Of course not, yeah. You know what's interesting, real quick, off topic, but about Alabama? You know what's crazy about Alabama this year? Is this the first time in 15 years they might sneak up on you? Think about it. Nobody's expecting them to win the SEC, and that roster is freaky talented, dude.
No, you're right. I don't think they regress at all. The last episode that we did, I actually picked them to make the SEC title game, which I mean, it feels weird that you're saying that as like a surprise to people. You know what I mean? I personally love. Yeah, it's a weird feeling. I love Jalen Milroe. I was vocal last year when they benched him against South Florida. Love the guy. Burn orange or not, I think he's a great kid, great family. He's going to kill it.
Yeah.
But such an easy guy to root for. I don't have an issue with DeBoer. I don't think like he's the Sark conqueror or anything like that. So I don't have this natural hate for the guy or anything. I think he's a hell of a coach. He's won everywhere he's been. They're still talented from top to bottom on the roster. He still return a lot of important positions, which the schedule is a little trickier than you add the Oklahoma game. I guess y'all said they go to Norman. They're going to play some 3 or 4 really close ball games. If they win 3 of the 4, they're locked to make the SEC title game. I mean, I feel similar for us as well. I don't think it would be a surprise, though, to me personally. But it's weird seeing, Texas, Ole Miss. Even some people talk more about Missouri, I feel like, than Alabama. How do you feel about Missouri, though? Tell me about them. You got
I love their receiving core, man. I mean, Luther Burden is obviously, a top receiver in the country, but Theo Wees is really good too. And having one of those guys across from the other guy is really important, I think, because they can't just stack everybody and try to guard one guy. They have to account for Theo Weiss too. And I think Theo Weiss has the ability to open things up for Luther Burden and for Brady Cook, the quarterback. I still think Mizzou probably finishes like 5th or 6th in the SEC. There's so many good SEC teams, man.
That's the thing, man.
It's like a 4-way kind of toss up, right? Between Texas, Georgia, Ole Miss, Alabama. Like that's kind of where I'm at. And we had Tommy Yarish on the show. If you guys know him, he's a great Texas grad and really, really good sports guy. And he actually picked Jalen Milroe to win the Heisman. And I don't think that's a bad pick because I think that offense is going to really open up with him. I think they're going to be able to do more with him on offense with Kalen DeBoer because he's not similar to Penix at all. But the way that they run those wide receivers, like I could just see Jalen Milroe having a crazy season. So.
Well, I mean, you're a fan like myself. His best attribute, other than his legs, I mean, he throws a hell of a deep ball, and they're going to try and stretch it out. And the further the field stretches out, the more space there is for his legs, and then obviously the running game as well. I don't think they're going anywhere. I think they're going to be continue to be a formidable out in the SEC. I want them to stay relevant. I don't want Saban stepping down to be the reason that they have a fall off. Let's let somebody go.
I mean, I feel like people, whether you hate or love Texas, you say college football is better when Texas is good. I feel like it's the same with Alabama.
Yeah.
College football is better when Alabama's good. I mean, call it what it is.
I kind of feel the same for a handful of those teams. Real quick, we're going to go to the comments for some questions. If you have any questions for Kyle or Keenan, please hop in the comments, drop those for us now. We'll get to them. But first, do me a favor. If you're on Twitter watching live, please hop on YouTube, throw in a like and a subscribe.
While we have a quick break in the action, I'd just like to toss out there that there's a certain baseball game going on tonight. One team has 0 hits. Not going to say which one. But
yeah, I know which one it is. It's on my phone right now.
Wait, hold on a second. We just got a
baseball team out of Houston. I just had to throw that out there. We just had
a walk. So
I know we're talking about, I would also like to say, I know we're talking about college football right now, but I can't, as a baseball fan, that's my first love. I cannot wait for Texas baseball in the SEC.
Yeah, that's going to be rad, dude.
If any sport benefits more than the rest from the move, it might be SEC baseball. I mean, it's about to be so cool. I mean, the level of competition that we've been playing in the Big 12 compared to it's a bigger difference than there is in Big 12 football and SEC football, in my opinion. So it's just so many.
Yeah, I mean,
SEC baseball is already just like a bloodbath in general, which I absolutely love. I mean, the narrative of us stealing Schloss the year before we go into the SEC from A&M, I think just adds another layer of okay, we're obviously coming in as the villain, but I'm living for it so much, and I cannot wait to make myself famous again at the Dish this year.
I think we fully leaned into the villain role on that move and that heist. I don't know, but if it's possible, but it feels like the baseball games might be more heated than the Texas and A&M football game. Is that possible? I mean,
I do. It's funny you say that because I was at the Texas A&M baseball game this past year, and I don't think I could ever recall a time that I ever saw Dish Falk more packed than what I saw. I mean, yeah, of course there was a ton of A&M fans there, but the atmosphere in general was just out of this world. And then on another note, I'm going on a little tangent right now about SEC baseball.
No, you're good.
I was also at the Texas LSU game. Was it 2 or 3 years ago now? We were preseason number 1. There was Ivan Melendez's 31 home run season. There were almost 30,000 fans at Minute Maid Park when we played LSU during that nightcap. I think we should be playing LSU similar to how we do with OU in Dallas. We should be playing LSU and Minute Maid every year because they will sell out that stadium.
Yeah, baseball, yeah, for sure. I agree with that. That'd be cool.
Give me like one out of every 3 years. I think it's going to be really cool for Texas to go to the box in Baton Rouge, and obviously for
Yeah,
LSU
that's true.
from the dish.
I like
But
that.
I love the idea. I think it's. I mean, I hate the pro team that calls that place a home, but it's a cool venue for the college kids. I mean, it's a cool scene.
Yeah.
Only question we have so far: who's the first one to volunteer a healthy knee to CJ Baxter? I think we could all three do that in a heartbeat. I don't know about you, Keenan, but
Take my knee, coach. Take my
Kyle
knee.
and I are willing to sacrifice the remaining bits of our athletic careers. That we
I don't run anywhere other than to the fridge to grab another beer, so I think I can sacrifice a knee if it needs to happen.
Hell yeah, man.
Question from Travis: which Oklahoma player do you like best, or maybe respect, despite the
Mine's
rivalry?
easy. Mine's easy. CD Lamb, because he's a Cowboy. I love CD Lamb. No question. CD Lamb.
Kyle, you got a Sooner that you like or respect?
Man, I don't know. If I'm being really blunt right now, I hate them all. If there was one, if you want to ask me the opposite of this question, who do I hate the most? It's probably Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I told them on the podcast.
Probably not the answer he's looking for, but
Yeah.
I know it's not, but there's no one that I can. I mean,
there's a few good ones, man. I mean, what's his name? Is such a nice guy.
Linebacker that had the 30 for 30 from the
Bosworth.
Sure, that guy's cool. I think he had swag. That's my best.
I like Trey Young. I know people don't like Trey Young, but I like Trey Young.
Mine is easy for me as an East Texas guy. As a sophomore in high school, we're playing a playoff game at Palestine High School on a Thursday night. Palestine High is playing on Saturday, so they were still practicing. I was the only one at my little 2A school that knew who the man Adrian Peterson was. Walked up to him, shook his hand, told him that I knew he was going to OU, but that as a Longhorn, I thought it was really cool. He was representing the area. And then he shook my hand, and my hand hurt for about a month and a half. I've never seen any man.
Just like his kids' backs hurt after.
Right. You're after Travis on this one, brother, man. But I loved Peterson. When he was a Viking, I wanted him to win Super Bowl that year when they went to the NFC Championship game with Favre against the Saints. I think they turned it over 8 times to keep that from happening. But then I wanted him to set that single-season record really bad, man. Big Adrian Peterson fan, but we were pretty lucky. He was a little banged up during his tenure in his college tenure, because we only saw him at full health 1 year there.
I mean, that freshman season was like the best running back season I've ever seen.
He had
especially
244 against us. 244.
Oh, I remember.
The first time he carried the ball as a counter from inside the 10, and we didn't touch him until 40, and then I think he almost ran. We knew real quick what he was about. All right, we got a question from Miss Ingrid. This is a fun one. Which was the worst Texas game y'all have ever attended?
What are you doing this to me, man? I went to plenty. Honestly, might have been 21 OU. Might have been 21 OU with Caleb Williams. That might have been the worst one.
It's a lot of
pain involved. There was just elation. But you can ask anybody there. You can ask. I was the only one who was going, this is not over at all. Nope. I kept saying that. It was 28-7. I kept going to my friends. I was like, you guys got to chill, man. This is OU and Texas. This game is not over.
Yep.
Second, they bring Caleb Williams in. He throws that 60. I was like, what are we doing, dude? Terrifying.
Everything just seemed to kind of slowly be turning, and I think after the Caleb Williams 4th and 1, it's 65-yard run. I think that's when I, in my heart, knew that it was going to come down to the very end of the game. Kyle, you got one, bub?
Yeah, I was 2018 at home against West Virginia.
Oh God, I was at a wedding during that. I remember that.
It's I know it's West Virginia. There's not really a whole lot of history between the two of us, but something about that game just really stung. That last second touchdown toss.
Oh.
It just left a horrible taste in my mouth.
Absolutely, man. I wasn't there. I was with Keenan, but just watching, not with Keenan, but I was like Keenan. I was also coming back from a wedding during the fourth quarter of that game, and I
was literally at a wedding on my phone, just so mad.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you're a treat for all the rest of the wedding, Chris.
Dude, that would have been a terrible wedding to be at after that.
I was a terrible wedding guest this past OU weekend. I was at a wedding in Colorado, and I was with my poor wife, wonderful woman, and her wonderful friends and their great fiancés. And I was asked to leave the room because I was not behaving well during this game. So I went upstairs and had to watch by myself, and it was not great, Bob.
Hey, we used to watch sports together. I think we have a lot in common. What did you say, Kyle? Sorry about that.
That was Ingrid's 15 seconds of fame. That's when she was on TV, according to the comments.
West Virginia game. That's right? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
I will give you mine. It's a very if you had been there, it would have been your answer. But 2008 Tech's up double digits the second half, and I'm in high school, and me and a buddy drove up and are watching the game, and we're both young. His dad drove us up, and then decided not to go to the game. He had a brother that lived in Lubbock, so we're at the Jones by ourselves. And these Tech guys they're letting it rain on us. They're having a good time, and an older guy walks over and like jumps all over these guys, and it's like, y'all need to chill out, leave these kids alone. I mean, he gets on them, they're arguing. And that guy looks at us and he tells us, he's like, this game's not over. We're just getting started. And I think it was 22-6 at half. But yeah, anyways, y'all know how the game ends. But right before that Crabtree play, I look over because I thought Blake Gideon had caught the interception. I look over and that man, he's just looking at me, his big old burnt orange cowboy hat, and he just nods. And then the look in both of our faces when we realized he had dropped it. And then we drove straight back to Texas that night, 8 hours.
Silence. Just silence.
And the worst part was my buddy's dad is not a Longhorn fan. His family's all from up in the Panhandle. He didn't really care. And the first thing that he says when we get in the car is, what a fantastic ball game that was. So I'm just like, oh, yeah, man. Yeah. So that one stunk.
No.
See here.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I saw a good one. Keenan up here. Okay. Does the move to the SEC hurt or help Texas in basketball? I can't remember. See the right question.
Good question. I can answer that as that is one of my beats. Yeah. So basically, I think it could go either way. So the SEC is a lot better at basketball than they were 10 years ago. It's Absolutely. Not the Kentucky show anymore, right? It's not just Kentucky. They have like even Ole Miss. They look good. Yeah. Alabama might have the best roster in the country. Tennessee looks awesome. Auburn looks awesome. South Carolina has some players. Florida has some players. Arkansas is going to be Arkansas with Calipari, and they have some actual senior leadership on that team too. So I think they're going to be pretty legit. There's some bad teams. Like the Big 12 is loaded this year in basketball.
Right.
So the SEC might not be as good as the Big 12, but it's not going to be a major step down where they're going to easily walk through, right? Like you're going to have physical, tough games. And with the situation at center with this Texas basketball team, it does concern me a bit that they really only have one true center on the roster. They have a lot of forwards, a lot of guys that can slot in at the 4 spot, but Caden Shedrick's going to have to play 25-plus minutes a game. He's going to have to stay out of foul trouble. He's going to have to stay healthy. So that's kind of my take, is it could go either way, but this roster is a lot better than last year's. That's for sure. So I'm really looking forward to this basketball season.
I'd agree with you right there. I'm a big fan of the portal moves.
Yeah,
I think there's similar to the secondary and the wide receiver room that there's potential to put a lot of things together. You still have to go do that. There's a lot of talent there. No center is concerning. No center. You need depth. You're going to have some easy buckets. We'll see at the forward position. Who do you like hypothetically, give me your starting 5. That's what I'll ask you.
Okay. I'd go – so point guard's tough. It's either going to be Jordan Pope or Julian Larry, but I'm going to go Jordan Pope.
Okay.
I'm going to go Trey Johnson at shooting guard, Traymon Mark at wing, Jason Kent at the 4, and Caden Shedrick at the 5. That would be my predicted starting lineup. Jason Kent is 98th percentile in points per shot. Like, he's one of the most efficient players in college basketball, period. Like, regardless of position, the dude just knows where to be to score the basketball. I really like his game. Averaged 8 rebounds per game last year, too. So, like, not a slouch on the boards. That would be my starting 5, if you ask me right now.
And not to knock any of the former teams, but I think that's a major improvement from where we were just at. And what are your personal thoughts? How do you feel about Coach Terry? Do you like the direction overall that the program's headed in?
Man,
I'll go for it.
Can I just jump in real quick?
Of course, brother.
Lineup. If we're talking about losses that sting still, that Miami loss in the Elite Eight, dude. I mean,
that hurt a lot.
Marcus Carr, directing the offense. We had the squad that year. I'm not saying we should have won the national title, but we should have made it to the Final Four that year, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but
at the time, I called it the most painful loss in Texas sports history, I think, is how I defined that loss. But that was before I realized the wagon that was UConn. And, buddy, I don't think that could we have played with UConn? 10 points? Possibly, yeah. I don't think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that, I'm not saying we would have been in the national title, but
overall,
we should have made it past Miami to make it to the Final Four.
I think what I actually was a poll, so I'll ask you. But I think I asked between the 09 Bama game, the 08 Tech game, and then the 20 or the final or the Elite Eight versus Miami. Which one was more something along those lines? Because I just felt like. Honestly, yeah. That's what people said too. And 08, I think I love our chance to beat Florida in the national championship. I hope you're listening to this, Travis. It should have been us, okay, y'all.
Well, Travis is definitely still listening. He's active in the comments.
Yeah, that's my guy. I love you showing the support. It makes it fun. I'm still bitter. I'll forever be bitter about 2008. That meant that year was everything to me. 45-35. I'm gonna get tattooed on my body next. But
this Bevel's loss can't hurt me anymore. Yeah, I mean that. What's funny about this Texas team is they're kind of built like that Miami team. They have so many guards that can go get their own shot. They have so many guards that can create for other guys. They have so many catch and shoot guys. Like this is one of the best shooting rosters they've ever had. And even from the free throw line, they have multiple dudes over 75%. That matters a lot when it comes tournament time.
And those are the little things when we're making these portal additions that people are, they're not understanding. I mean, like, look at our free throw shooting for forever, man. Like, we've never been a great free throw shooting team back since Durant, DJ, and Damian James. Like, even those teams weren't awesome outside of DJ and Kevin. It is overdue to see some good quality basketball shooting, man. I was a 3-point guy. I played D3 basketball. I was a shooter. I need to see Texas making some shots from outside the 3-point line. Kevin Durant's my all-time favorite athlete. Naturally, I think that every guy in burn orange should just make everything. It's just how the game's played and how it goes. Huge basketball guy.
You want to have a good time throwing that Kevin Durant freshman mixtape. I was watching that today at work, and I was just like, this is not even fair. It's not even fair how much better he is than everybody else he plays against in that league.
What did he do in Lubbock?
All-time Olympic scoring champion for Team USA now.
This is fact.
Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
The Tech game his freshman year, I think in Lubbock, he had something absurd, like 37,
35 points,
37, but he also almost had 20 boards. And right then I was like, okay, like we watched TJ Ford and Royal Ivy, James Thomas, some of those. I'm just a hair older than you. Watch those Texas teams. Never seen a guy like that. It reminded me of what I saw Carmelo do against Texas in the Final Four in 03. It reminded me of that, but from every game. It was watching, and obviously he's gone on to be one of the purest scorers in the game's history. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited like you. I'm definitely always going to be checking out the hoops content. Appreciate you doing that, man. Got football in the name, but definitely basketball is up there with anything else. We have any more questions? Anybody? We've got another minute or two. Keenan needs to get out of here, I believe. Do we have any more questions for either of these guys? Drop them real quick. We got some fun.
Shout out SEC Unfiltered. Shout out my boys over there.
Our guys. They're coming on next week. Tune in, please. Got SEC.
Hell yeah, those are the guys right there.
That's the great group, man. I'm excited to have them. They'll be on next Tuesday at 8. Travis, I love you. You're a great friend. Thank you for tuning in. I hope your team absolutely terrible this fall, though, brother. Terrible.
Man, Gage makes a really good point, dog. If we could have had 1 year of LaMarcus Aldridge and KD together, could you imagine?
No, I don't want to do that to my soul because we would have
PJ Tucker as well,
man.
And add in PJ Tucker.
I mean, you can get. I know that other schools have had one and dones, two and dones. I get that, but we're talking about Texas had the potential to have PJ Tucker, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Kevin Durant all on the same basketball team,
and DJ. Well, not DJ.
Dogs.
Yeah, no,
they both dogs.
I mean, I know Kentucky's like, oh, we could play this game and we could roll out like literally like a 12-person NBA All-Star team on us in a 3-year span, but it's fun, you know. We don't see that type of talent, and it was fun. I was actually at LaMarcus's game 2 against the Thunder when he dropped, or game 1 against the Thunder when he dropped like 44. I was pretty pissed because he did it against Durant, and I was in there rocking my KD fit, but. Good times, man. Hopefully Texas basketball is back on the up and up. Get a little vengeance versus the Hurricanes if we ever see them down the road. But, guys, thank you both for tuning in. I would love for you both to come back on if y'all are interested.
I'll be back on, brother.
That's
absolutely,
my guy,
man.
Appreciate it, guys. To everyone watching, thank you all for tuning in. Please, once again, hop on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be running multiple shows a week, hopefully until forever. Thank you again, guys. We'll see you guys later. Hook 'em horns.